Hello everyone! Welcome back to the Maureen Bradley Design Studios. A very messy design studios, albeit, but we're working on getting it organized. I am Stephanie Reese, your host, and it is January 25th, 2022, a brand new year. Happy New Year! I hope it's a great start to your new year. I am also a Jesse James Beads brand ambassador, and they have sent me some new products to show you. And I also have a new tutorial to share with you. I'm so excited. So let's get started. Okay, I'm just adjusting the camera slightly here so you can see. Okay, and as you will notice, here are all the beads that they sent to me to show you. So at first I wanted to just talk a little bit about my inspiration for this for these products, and as soon as I saw them, it really reminded me of the Art Deco design period. And I wanted to just talk a minute about that because I'm using the term and I want you to know why I'm talking about it. But so Art Deco was a popular design style of the 1920s and 1930s time period, and it's characterized by sleek, geometric, and stylized forms and the use of man-made materials. And it is very heavy geometric forms, triangular shapes, zigzags, trapezoids, straight lines, straight and smooth lines. It was very loud and vibrant. You will also see like a sunburst or sunrise motifs used in the Art Deco time period. Some of the favorite colors were bright, deep yellows, reds, greens, blues, and pinks. And then materials that were used during that time were stucco, concrete, smooth face stones, terracotta, and steel and aluminum were used along with glass blocks and decorative plate glass in this period of time. So it's from the 1920s and 30s period. And I just kind of wanted to show you, I collected some images that I thought were interesting, and I'll just share them with you really quick so that you can see. Here's one of the images I collected. I printed it out, and it has these sunburst motifs, very geometric, circular shapes. Here's another one I chose with all these smooth lines. Here's another one with the sunbursts. Very geometrical for its time. Here's some more where the geometric shapes are stacked onto each other. And then here's an image that I found online with glass, with the sunburst shape and the flowery shape. Some buildings that I pulled that are very popular that you might know. This is the Chrysler Building. You'll recognize that big tall steeple. This is the Empire State Building. It's the small motif of the Empire State Building. Recognize all the geometric patterns in it, and also the sunburst that comes out. And a popular film that one of my favorite films, The Great Gatsby, was during this time period as well. Just to show you some images that, you know, are reminiscent of that time period and that I so love. Here's another one that says "Welcome to the Party" on it, but it has all of these wonderful geometric patterns on it. And this is a very Art Deco paint palette, which is similar to what Jesse James Bead sent to me. And it just really inspired me during that time and made me think of that style or that period of time. And some jewelry. Here's a very Art Deco piece. Here's a vintage Art Deco piece. And then a comb. A vintage comb that was during that time. So just a few images. I just wanted to take a few minutes and describe to you why I'm doing what I'm doing today, and just some inspiration about these beads. These beads are gorgeous. And just to share with you, this is the Pantene strand in Rhodonite. This is so beautiful. Love this bead. We'll just dive right into the beads, shall we? And look, these would make a beautiful earring right here. Like you could take those 3 pieces right there to use this as a dangle. And this too is the top part. And that would be a gorgeous, gorgeous earring, wouldn't it? So beautiful. This is the Pantone bead strand in Rhodonite. Beautiful. Next up is the Color Trends bead mix in Ocean. So as you can see, those similar tones, the turquoise, this flower, so pretty. I love that. Love these turquoise beads with the bronze and the little bit of copper in there. As you can see, these spacers are copper. And are you seeing what I mean by the Art Deco inspiration here? This square ceramic bead is just gorgeous. All of these are so beautiful. That again is the Color Trends mix in Ocean. Or I'm sorry, this is Wanderlust. My card said something different. It's Wanderlust. I apologize. The Color Trends bead mix in Wanderlust. Next up is this bead mix. This is the mini bead mix in Earl Grey, and I'm going to show you the package too on this one, so to make sure that I did get this correct. That's the mini mix in Earl Grey. Oh, and I just love all these steel tones. Beautiful. So wonderful. These are just fabulous. Look at that. It has a two colors, like the silver and then the bronze on it. But then look at the cut on it. This underside, it's got a flat cut. It's not pointed like you would normally see. And then there's a hole at the top for you to string it. Those are so beautiful. Let's see what else I can pick out here. Oh, I love these. These are gorgeous. So much sparkle in this mix. Beautiful. Oh, and then I absolutely adore, my hand's in the way, sorry, this mix here with these little flowers. These are also like the sunburst that you saw in those photographs that I put. Let's see, what else? These are cool too. Look, this has a two-tone as well, like a silver and a bronze finish. Those are beautiful. And this here, like it's a globe cut, and it's faceted. Remember we said faceted is when you have little cuts on there and it catches the light, and look, it just shimmers with an aurora borealis finish. This is so gorgeous, and it's gonna look so fabulous next to these colors. Look at that. Beautiful. And then they sent me this gorgeous beaded abstract angel charm. Isn't that just gorgeous, with the little squares and this drop for the angel and then the round bead for the head? Absolutely beautiful. And then we have this antique brass, and this is what really inspired me to think back to that Art Deco design style, and just like the blues, the blue, the dark blue with the turquoise and the gray, it just all really spoke to me about the Art Deco time period. And this is the antique brass chevron metal chain. Metal chain, absolutely gorgeous. As you can see, it's beautiful. So all of these products I will put down in the comments. I will put links to them. All you have to do is click on them if you want to go and look at them and purchase them from Jessie James Beads. Again, this bowl here, the gray, is the mini mix in Earl Gray, and this here in turquoise and bronze is the Color Trends bead mix in Wanderlust. And then this is the bead strand in Rhodonite. Oh, just gorgeous blues, aren't they? And the Angel Charm, the Angel Abstract Charm, and the brass chevron metal chain. Absolutely beautiful. So I thought today we would take a look at some things that I started to work on after the new year started. And I did so that we could use some of these beads to make another pendant. I'll first show you what I started on, and the concept is that I wanted to try paint pouring, but I wanted to combine paint pouring and making jewelry. And so I tried it on these little wooden pieces, and so I didn't pull these pieces, but this is what they look like. They're plain. And this was a plain wooden piece that I just took, and I decided to take some paint. And let's see, you probably see it better on this side. But I took the paint and I just dropped it onto the wood. And as you can see, the technique is that you just let the paint run onto the wood, and it's called paint pouring. And I've seen a lot of people doing this with acrylic paint. I didn't use acrylic paint on this one. I'll show you the paints I used. But this concept is one that you just let the paint run just like you would a paint pour, and it creates a marbleized effect when it runs into each other. For these earrings, I used red, pink, and white, I believe, to create sort of a Valentine's Day look. And then I did put a sort of I guess it's a glitter finish on it, on the wood piece. I sanded the edges to give it a little bit of a worn look. And then I embellished on the front. So on the front, as you can see, I have embellished with some beads, and I found this was an older mix from Jessie James Beads, and I want to say it's called it's something crystal. I don't know if it's similar to the Crystal Cave that they have on their website or if it was called something else, but it is an older mix. But I thought it was so lovely because it had these little heart beads, it had these flowers that I could turn upside down, and I just glued them down to the wood so that I could create a connection. And then I took the little beads from that collection and I added them here, and then I just embellished with crystals on top. So that's what I did for those. That's the first thing I tried. So I'll just lay these here. And then before we get started, I'll showing you how to do this. This was the first one I did, and you can see it better here where I just kind of let the paint, and I took the end of a brush and I just sort of helped it along. It's not really running there so much. And then this side, I wanted to show you this side because I did take one of these flower beads, and I wanted to show you that you can also use beads as embellishments. So this right here is one of those flower beads, and I glued it down and I put a crystal on top to show that you can embellish with the beads as well. So this one I did the paint pour on, but when I did it, the brown and the dark blue really took over. And I wanted to show that if that happens, you could come back on top of that and just use it as your background on your piece, and then simply come in and paint. I painted with turquoise and silver, and I made little dots. Love dots. And then I used my crystals as dots as well to embellish this piece to really make it come out. So this is the final piece. This one is the final piece that I really liked how it came out. It shows a lot of the paint running together and showing you how it does create a little like a marble effect where the paints run together a little bit, and you can help it along a little bit. And I do both sides. This one I did also sand it down a little bit to age it a little bit. And then this is the one we will use to actually make the pendant with. So let me remove all these things from the table, and I'll be right back so that I can show you how to do a paint pour on these pieces. Okay, we are back, and I'm going to show you how to do the paint pouring portion for these wooden pieces. And I'm just going to show you on one. I don't think I have to do all of them, but I just wanted to show you that these are what they look like without having any finish on them. So that's what they look like. And they're just wood cutouts with a hole in the middle. All right, so we'll use this. And if you haven't painted before, you probably want to put some paper towels down. I usually use a paper plate because it catches the paint and it stays on the plate. I use another plate for my actual paints if I'm going to be painting. And I have it's an old paintbrush that's lost the tip, and I use this side to sort of help with the marbling effect. And if you're wearing a shirt, you might want to cover your shirt. It will probably get on my hands, but that's the fun of it. So let's get started. The paints I'm using, I have these patina paints from Vintage Ranger. And this color is verdigris. This one is aged bronze. I picked out the similar colors that are in the beads. This is Nouveau Silver, and this is Cobalt. So remember, we have all these colors in our beads, right? I'm just going to put this here so you can see. Look at that. They match wonderfully. So that's why I chose those, because those are all the colors in this style. All right, so you want to be sure and shake up your paints and make sure that they're well shaken and that you hear the ball going off inside of them. If it's not moving around, it's probably dry inside and not good to use. You want to be able to hear that ball. So the first colors I'm going to be putting on my little wood piece here is the verdigris and the cobalt colors. And I'm just going to let it drip. And I will tell you that what happens, happens. You know, it's just going to happen how it happens. So you're just dripping it on there. And at first, I'm not squeezing. I'm just letting it come out how it comes out. And just letting it be. There's the turquoise verdigris. And this one's the cobalt. Excuse me. And again, I'm just letting it drip. And you want to use a pretty good amount of the blue, of the cobalt and the verdigris, because I think that the brown, the aged bronze, and the silver, you want to use those colors less sparingly, because they can really blend and sort of take over your project, and then before you know it, everything's brown. So you see here how they're already starting to run, and that's what you want. You want this piece to run, and you want it to just go. You don't want to try to control it. And I'll tell you, this sort of reminds me of, I went to a fair one time, and I'm going to pick it up with my fingers. Maybe you have tweezers or something, and I'm going to try to show this the best way I know how. but I'm just letting the paint drip and run. And I'm going to turn it this way, and see, you're going to get it on your hands. I'll try to show you as it's running. But you want the running to occur because that's what's going to create that model effect. And so you just want that paint to run. And always have some paper towels nearby so you can dry your fingers. It does wash off. It's not going to stay permanent on your skin if you do get it on your skin. But what I was saying is, this reminds me of one time I went to a fair, and they had a vendor at the fair that was doing, it was like oil paints and silk scarves. Have you ever seen this? I'm going to turn it this way. And the vendor used the oil paints in water. He had these big vats of, or tubs with water in them. And when he put the oil paints, that's gorgeous, look what it's doing. Of course, oil does not mix with water, so the oil paint stayed on top. And then try and tell the story and show you how to do this. So you're just going to take the tip of your little paintbrush and just kind of help it along. Right? So when this vendor, he had these paints, but then the oil paint would stay on top of the water. And then he would make a design. He would swirl with the paint in the design and make little waves like this. And when he did that, the paint, it just stayed on top because it's oil. And then he would take the silk scarf, and I'm just going to dip my paint and then just kind of help it along. You have extra paint, so you can just kind of swirl it in there. Oh, this is coming out so cool. So he would take this silk scarf and then run it on top. Lay it there when you were happy with whatever paints you used, and the silk would absorb. Just like this, the design that he put in the water with the oil. And see how beautiful that has come out. If you'd like, you want to let this dry, and if you like, when you're done, you might come in and embellish a little bit more with some more paint if you want to change it, but I love it exactly how it came out. So, and then you can just add a little bit, like if there's little spaces that didn't get paint, you take that little end of your paintbrush and just dab ever so little bit along to embellish it and cover up those little tiny areas that didn't get any paint. And you see how it's got that marbled effect, and it needs to dry completely before you do any sanding on it. But that's basically it. You let the paint do your artwork for you. And I am just so excited to be able to show you that. It came out really cool. Again, here's one that I did on front and back. It's really, you can really see how it's modeled on the front and marbled on the front. So now that I've shown you that little quick thing, we're going to use this, not this one, but the one I dried. We're going to use them as a pendant with the beads that Jesse James Bead sent to us. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and let me pause for just a moment, and I'll bring my mat and beads back in. One sec. Okay, so I've got my bead mat, but one thing that I wanted to show you was, since we were painting and we had our paints out, was that we could put a little bit of turquoise on this piece to bring out those lines. We don't want to cover it completely in green. I don't want to take away that beautiful bronze finish, but I wanted to bring out the little lines in it before I add it to my pendant. So I wanted to show you what we do really quick. Grab my paintbrush here. There it is. And I like to do what's just, I guess I just call it a wipe away method. And I add a drop of paint here. You don't need much. These paints go a long way. And so I'm just going to take my paintbrush, make sure you can see, and I'm just going to add it on one of these petals where those little lines are. And then I'm going to take my paper towel and wipe it away. And we just want that paint to get stuck in the grooves. We don't want to paint the whole thing, and we want that lovely bronze color to show. And that's it. Oops. See how it just shows the little bit of paint in those lines. And then we just want to embellish. We don't want to cover the whole piece. Now, initially you are covering the whole piece, and that's just because you want to get the color on there. But then we're wiping it away. And we just want, again, that color to be in the lines. And we want that beautiful bronze to show out. Do the next one. And if you haven't done this before, it's really a lot of fun. I love to paint on metal, on wood, and I'm so excited that because I love to paint. Put it down for you to see. See there, all you're seeing it is in the lines. And we'll do this next one. Again, we're just getting the paint on it. And you can see it doesn't take a lot of paint. And we're just going to wipe it away. Yeah, I love to paint on wood, on metal. It's so much fun. Again, we're just embellishing here. We're just using a little bit of paint to pop those lines out in the flower. And then you always have some water nearby to clean your paintbrush, because these paints will ruin a good paintbrush if you don't clean it when you're done. Don't let the paint dry on them. Okay, see how I buffed out, and all we have is some of the paint left in the lines of the flower. Excuse me. I'm going to grab a sip of water. And I think we're done. That's just fabulous. Came out really great. And we'll take our paint plate over here and let's get busy making our pendant with these beautiful pieces. So this came like this, and now look how we've embellished it to really make it stand out and pop. And we still have that gorgeous bronze color. We don't want to lose that. Again, this was the Color Trends mix. Let me show you. Can you see the Color Trends mix, bead mix in Wanderlust? That's where these flowers are in. And again, I just was so excited to see that we're going to place that right on top there. And I want to put this little angel piece at the end here. I want to attach it to here so that it dangles down. So beautiful together. So let's go ahead and do that part. I'm just going to open. This has got a loop on it already, so I'm just going to open it. And you want to open it front to back, not side to side, because we don't want to ruin that loop. And we're just going to place it in there. And then front to back, close it again. Fabulous. So yeah, we have that the little angel is now attached to the flower. So then, instead of embellishing with crystals and the flowers, although I think that I may have to come in and give this maybe one flower, you think? I think that would be absolutely gorgeous. Don't forget, you can, and even these guys, these little snowflake rondelles, look at how beautiful that is. You can embellish on top of the little wooden piece and use your beads as embellishments to bring in more color, to use your other skills that you might have, like painting or crochet or anything. I think it's so wonderful. Okay, so that's done. We've added our little angel, and I want to put a couple of beads here. So I'm going to use, I have some 20 gauge gold German style wire here. It's a mess. So let me find my, get some wire here. And I'm taking off about maybe 6 inches, I think. I'm gonna clip away 20 gauge wire. And the first thing I want to do is I want a tiny bead, and I want to make a little scroll on top. So I'm going to come here and just, this is going to be a really tiny scroll. So we're just moving it in like so. And we don't want too big of a scroll because we want it's a little big. I think I'm going to the side like that. It's a little big. It could be smaller, but I'm going to leave it and see what it looks like. And I'm going to add this bead here. And you know what? I took off way too much wire. What might be fun, let's change it around and let's do this, baby. Let's do that. Oh, I love that. That is really cool. Because you see how that hangs down off of that. And it looks beautiful with the flower, don't you think? And is that bigger? Yeah, it goes away. So maybe we just do that and use that now that we're playing. And look, see how it creates a little stem there. And then on the back, we're going to do another scroll so it stays in place. And for that, you only need about maybe a ½ inch. Let's go with a ½ inch there. So yeah, I cut too much wire, but you know what? You can always use this for connections, other connections, making chain and things like that. So I want my little scroll in the front to go down, and then we're going to do another scroll on the back. This one's going to be a little bigger. So we want to grab it on the end. Oh, I didn't. Sorry about that. I thought I clipped it flush. It wasn't flush. I like it flush. So we are going to take this again, and at the very tip, let's make sure in the front, you're going to press down on it, and then at the very tip of your pliers, you're going to go down and around and make sure you're in line. And then once you get it going, you can take your needle nose pliers and just inch it down towards the hole of the flower. And then again, we're just going to press up so that it stays in place. There we go. Oops. There's our angel. And it has a beautiful flower on the front. And we'll just make sure it stays in place. Oh, is it not going to stay? Okay, let's press down a little bit more. There we go. All right, and now we can add that to the front of our beaded piece. And I will need this wire because I want to add another bead up top. And I'm really loving these turquoise howlite pieces. They're gorgeous, aren't they? Oh, and it's like choices, choices, choices. Let's see. Maybe this with the gold to bring in that bright gold, maybe. I tell you what, let's think about it. And while we're thinking, we can go ahead and make our bend in the wire. And I'm coming down a little ways because we're going to have a large loop to go through those two things. So let's do like that. Make a bend. And then we want our hole to be rather large. So I'm hoping, I think that should do it. Do I need, you know what? I'm not going to take a chance, and I'm going to use my bail making pliers that has a little bit larger round on it. I'm going to wrap around this one like so, like that, and I'm just going to open it a little bit so that I can feed everything in. It's going to go there, and then I have my wooden piece here, and it's going to have a big loop, but you want that movement. See how things move? Oh, that's looking so great. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our wire wrap. You're going to squeeze a little bit. You can make the hole a little smaller, but I really, 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 really like the movement that happens with it. And we don't need that much of a wrap. So I'm going to clip that off, and remember, hold on to it as you snip so it doesn't go flying everywhere. And we just give it a little straighten. Make sure it's straight in the front and the back. Always check. And I think it's looking okay. So now we can add, I know I want this large turquoise bead here to create this beautiful focal. But then what comes next? Let's see. Let's just try a few things, shall we? We have turquoise on here already, so I want to maybe add, do we want to add something from this? There's a pearl we could do, or this little rondelle here. Or do we want to bring in some gray because we have some gray down here? I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking, is this going to be too much? I don't know. I love that. Because it does bring in some of that dark blue that we have in there. And then, you know what? We forgot our little, we could add a little bit of bling there. And what do you think? Add like that for our little pendant. I think I like it. All right. So then I'm going to come with my pliers here, bend down, because we're going to do a wire wrap, and then raise your round nose pliers up so that you can come bend around again, and then you're going to twirl them back up again. Bring the wire under, and then I like to hold on to the loop while I wire wrap. And this part, I'm just going to do messy wire wrap because we like the messy wire wraps. And that's it. It's nice and snug, which is what you want. We're going to snip that piece off. And then we're going to take our pliers and just tuck this in. It didn't come all the way up. There we go. So we're just going to tuck that in, and maybe I need to clip just a little bit more. No? Okay, maybe it's fine. It's fine. All right. And then we just make sure our loops are straight and nothing is... I always check to make sure they're straight because then they'll hang properly on your piece. And now you have another pendant that you've created. Then you've added some paint to your pendant piece. And here's the other one. And like I said, you could come in and embellish and add these flat pieces with some crystals if you so desire, and make it beautiful. There's that one, and here's this one. Again, just so you're aware of all these beautiful beads, this is the Rhodonite Pantone strand. This is the Ocean Trends bead mix in Wanderlust. This is the Earl Grey mini mix. This is the Abstract Angel Charm from Jesse James Beads. And this is the Antique Brass Chevron metal chain that I am planning to use with this piece. Put those back in there. And I hope that you will join me to see my finished necklace and collection at Maureen Bradley Designs on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and you can see what I made with these. I'll be posting some pictures using this pendant. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. That's all for today, and all of the beads that we showed here. Again, I will list them at the bottom of in the comments of this video. If you like what you've seen here today, please give me a like and hit that subscribe button. And I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you. We'll see you next time.